The first time I held little Liam in my arms, my world changed. His tiny fingers wrapped around mine, and I knew I'd do anything for him. Every giggle, every messy drawing, every sleepy hug on Sunday evenings filled a space in my heart that had once felt so painfully empty after my husband passed away. For 4 years, my weekends were sacred. Saturday mornings meant pancakes shaped like stars, and Sunday evenings meant bedtime stories about dragons and dreams. My daughter Emily used to say, "Mom, you're spoiling him." But there was a smile in her voice back then. Then, slowly, things began to shift. Emily got promoted, her husband started a new job, and their schedules changed. She stopped calling as often. One weekend became 2, then 3. I'd sit by the window with Liam's favorite puzzle on the table, waiting for a text that never came. When I finally asked Emily if Liam could come over again, her reply pierced my heart. "Mom, I think it's best if we take a break. He's getting older. We need to spend more family time." Her words felt like a door closing, one I had never imagined could shut between a mother and daughter. That night, I looked at Liam's old toys and the framed photos of his toothless grin. My house felt too quiet, too still. But then I remembered, love doesn't fade just because it's uninvited. So I made a silent promise: if my daughter wouldn't let me be part of his weekends, I'd make one weekend unforgettable. I'd show Liam, and maybe even Emily, what real family love looks like. And that's how the idea of the secret birthday party began to take shape in my heart. A week later, I heard through one of Emily's friends that Liam's 7th birthday was coming up. My heart fluttered with excitement. Birthdays had always been our thing. I used to bake him a big chocolate cake with tiny blue candles and let him help decorate with too much frosting and not enough patience. So naturally, I waited for my invitation. Days passed. I checked my phone more times than I'd like to admit. Every buzz made my heart leap. Maybe it was Emily, maybe Liam wanted to talk. But each time, it was just a notification, a reminder, or worse, silence. By Thursday, I couldn't take it anymore. I called her. She picked up, her tone polite but distant. "Emily, sweetheart," I began softly, "what time should I come for Liam's birthday?" There was a pause. A long, painful pause. "Mom, we're keeping it small this year," she said. "Just a few of his friends and their parents. I didn't want you to feel uncomfortable." Uncomfortable. I repeated, my voice trembling. Why would I be uncomfortable at my own grandson's birthday? She sighed, "It's just different now, Mom. You know how things are." Different. That word echoed in my mind like thunder. After the call, I sat quietly in my kitchen, the same spot where Liam used to sit and swing his legs, begging for one more pancake. I stared at the empty chair and whispered, "Different? No, sweetheart, you've changed, not me." That night, I took out an old box filled with memories, Liam's drawings, tiny handprints, the first toy car I bought him. I realized I didn't need an invitation to love him. If I couldn't go to his party, I would throw my own. Not out of anger, but out of love. A celebration not just for his birthday, but for the bond we had, one that no distance or misunderstanding could erase. And deep down I knew, this would be a party neither Emily nor Liam would ever forget. The next morning, I woke up with a spark I hadn't felt in years. If Emily didn't want me at Liam's birthday, that didn't mean I couldn't celebrate him in my own way. After all, love doesn't need permission. I opened my old recipe book, the one with flower stains and crinkled pages, and smiled. "Chocolate fudge cake with extra sprinkles," I whispered. Liam's favorite. I wrote down a list: balloons, his favorite cartoon plates, and that silly dinosaur piñata he loved. I went to the local store, and as I walked through the aisles, I could almost hear his laughter echoing beside me. The store clerk, Mrs. Green, smiled and asked, "Big party coming up?" "Yes," I said, with a proud little grin. "For my grandson." When I got home, I decorated my backyard with streamers and balloons, blue and green, just like Liam always wanted. The sun was warm, the birds were singing, and for the first time in months, I felt alive. But as I set the last balloon, doubt crept in. What if he doesn't come? Emily might not even tell him. I sat down on the porch and looked up at the sky. "You know what, Liam?" I whispered to myself. "Even if you don't make it, Grandma will still celebrate you. You'll feel my love wherever you are." Then, fate stepped in. That evening, my phone buzzed, a message from my neighbor, Mrs. Coleman. "Your daughter's car was here earlier," she wrote. "Liam was in the back seat. He looked sad." My heart tightened. She had driven past my house but hadn't stopped. Tears welled in my eyes, but I smiled through them. "It's okay," I said softly. "He'll know." And so I placed the cake on the table, lit 7 bright candles, and whispered, "Happy birthday, my little one. Grandma's always here." But what I didn't know was that fate had more in store, and this small act of love would soon ripple into something far bigger than I ever imagined. The following morning, I was still cleaning up the last bits of cake and ribbons when I heard a soft knock at the door. For a moment, I froze. Hardly anyone visited me these days. When I opened the door, I couldn't believe my eyes. "Grandma." Liam stood there, holding a half-deflated balloon and wearing his little dinosaur t-shirt, the same one I'd gotten him last Christmas. His eyes were red, and his tiny lips trembled. "Sweetheart," I whispered, my heart catching in my throat. "What are you doing here?" He looked down at his shoes and mumbled, "Mom and Dad were fighting. Mom said you didn't care anymore, but..." I knew she was wrong. Tears instantly filled my eyes. I knelt and wrapped my arms around him. "Oh, my darling boy," I said softly, "you'll never have to wonder if Grandma loves you. Never." He looked up at me and smiled, that same toothy grin that used to light up my weekends. "Can we still have a party?" I laughed, wiping my tears. "We already did, but we can do it again, just for you." And so we did. We danced in the kitchen, shared leftover cake, and he helped me blow bubbles into the yard until the sun began to set. For those few golden hours, it felt like time had turned back, like we were safe in our little world again. But when a car suddenly pulled up outside, that peace shattered. Emily stormed out of the driver's seat, anger written all over her face. "Liam," she shouted, "get in the car. Now." He hid behind me, clutching my apron. "I don't want to go, Grandma." I held him close, my heart pounding. "He's fine here," I said firmly, meeting her eyes. "He just wanted to celebrate his birthday." Emily's jaw tightened. "You always think you know better," she hissed. I didn't answer, not with words. I simply took Liam's hand and said softly, "Love isn't about who's right, Emily. It's about who shows up." She stood frozen for a moment, speechless, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of guilt cross her face. That night was long. Emily had driven away with Liam after a tense silence, leaving me standing by the doorway, holding the balloon he'd dropped. I sat in my old rocking chair, the one I used to read him stories in, and for the first time in years, I felt both proud and heartbroken. The next morning, I got a call I never expected. It was Emily. Her voice trembled, softer than I'd heard in a long time. "Mom, can I come over?" When she arrived, she didn't have that sharp tone anymore. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept in days. She sat across from me, eyes glistening. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I've been angry for so long that I forgot what you really mean to us." I stayed quiet, letting her speak. She took a deep breath. "Liam couldn't stop talking about you after that little party. He said you made him feel special. He cried last night because he thought he'd never see you again." My eyes stung. "He's just a boy, Emily. But he already understands something most adults forget, that love is meant to be given, not withheld." She nodded slowly, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I thought you were trying to take my place. But you were just helping. I've been so focused on proving I could do everything alone that I forgot you're part of him too." I reached out and held her hand, gently. "Sweetheart, I never wanted to take your place. I just wanted to be there, for both of you." The room went silent, filled only with the soft ticking of the clock. Then, she said the words I'd been longing to hear. "Mom, would you come by this weekend? Liam wants to bake cookies with you." I smiled through my tears. I wouldn't miss it for the world. As she left, I looked at the photo on my shelf, one of me holding baby Liam. I whispered to it, "Some bonds don't break, no matter how hard life tries." That weekend, I walked up the familiar path to Emily's house with a plate of freshly baked cookies. My hands trembled a little, not from age, but from the weight of everything that had happened. When I reached the door, it opened before I could even knock. "Grandma!" Liam shouted, racing into my arms. His hug was so fierce it nearly knocked the plate from my hands. For a moment, the world felt right again. Emily stood behind him, smiling, really smiling, for the first time in what felt like years. "Come in, Mom," she said softly. The kitchen smelled of sugar, chocolate, and new beginnings. Balloons from last week's little party still floated lazily near the ceiling. Liam pulled me to the table, eager to show me the cookie dough he'd made all by himself. We spent the next hour laughing, baking, and getting flour everywhere. But the best part came after, when Liam brought out a small handmade card. On the front he had written, "To Grandma, my best friend." Inside, a crayon drawing showed the three of us, hand in hand, smiling under a bright sun. Emily's eyes welled up again. She looked at me and whispered, "Thank you for never giving up on us." I smiled and placed my hand over hers. "Family isn't about perfection, sweetheart. It's about love that keeps finding its way back, even through hurt." We sat there, the three of us, surrounded by laughter, crumbs, and forgiveness. And as the evening sun dipped below the horizon, I realized something beautiful, that sometimes, the party we throw in defiance ends up being the one that heals everyone. As I hugged Liam one last time before leaving, he whispered, "Grandma, next weekend, can we have another party?" I kissed his forehead and chuckled, "Of course, my love. Every day we're together is a party." When I stepped outside, the cool breeze brushed my face. I looked up at the sky and smiled, not out of pride or victory, but out of peace. Because forgiveness, I realized, is the greatest celebration of all.